continue with our class Kosher Kitchen. And this session, all of them that we're going to learn today, should be dedicated also BeEzrat HaShem to Refuah Shlema, our dear Rabbi Yaron Reuven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris, also Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, Mimim Rasi Rachel Bas Brindel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra, also quick release of our dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina, Atzlacha Rabbah to our dear friends, the whole family, Giveras Chana Bas Abraham Avinu. Okay, let's continue. So today we continue with our class Kosher Kitchen, and we're on chapter number 19. Could you check your microphone, please? Okay. Yeah, could you please turn off your microphone? Okay, thank you. All right, so we're in chapter 19, and now the big topic, Kosher Kitchen, utensil by utensil. Okay, and next topic, so big topic, is a daily bread. Where did we learn about daily? A long time ago. I think in the beginning of the book we learned about daily bread. Right? We should not do it. Okay, unless we said the small quantity and stuff like that. Okay, so let's see. Daily bread. One may not add milk to the dough of any bread, since one may forget and need this bread with meat. Similarly, one may not need bread with meat gravy, lest it be eaten with dairy. Bread baked with milk or gravy may not be eaten even alone. There are several exceptions to this prohibition. So it's actually from he below he says it's actually from chapter 5. So we are not in chapter 19, so a long time ago basically. So let's see before we go into details exception. So it says one may not add milk to the dough of any bread, since one may forget to eat bread with milk and eat the bread with milk and eat this bread with meat. So but somebody reported to me when they just started looking up recipes for baking, for on internet, on YouTube, I know, on websites, right? So majority of these recipes, like home baked bread, is actually with milk. So okay, in a store, of course, they sell a part of bread, but in homemade, of course, it's non-Jewish recipes, but technically, right? What's the difference? Right? Big difference. So because the way I understand, if you do it with milk, it would be the best bread, better than the water, of course, right? Rich milk, right? Of course, much better than water. So we just substitute. I mean, if it's possible, just substitute that milk with water. Okay. So right. So what is the concern? Concern is that the person is going to make dairy bread, right, and then eat it with meat. On opposite issue, if they're going to add gravy, right, also is going to be a rich bread, right, and meat gravy, and then by mistake eat it with dairy meal. Okay. So, and he says the bread baked with meat gravy or milk, and not to be eaten even alone. So meaning, forget about the meal. Even by itself, you're not allowed to eat it. Okay. There are several exceptions to this prohibition. So again, because people tend to make mistakes, so maybe you're going to remember, but other members of your family, they're not going to know. They say, "Oh, what a tasty bread!" And mother comes, they eat this bread with a hot dogs or something. You understand? The bread that she added milk in. Okay, so here we go. Exceptions. One may bake an amount of daily bread that will be completely eaten during the same day, either by the person himself or anyone else in his family, friends, neighbors, or guests. So again, if it was the way I understand, not understand, but whatever I remember from our initial learning, long time ago, long time ago, maybe a year ago, whenever we learned, I don't remember, long time ago, right, where we said that if person is going to bake bread exactly for one meal, for example, if they plan to, like in the morning, dairy meal, like let's say there is a circumcision or something, right? They want a dairy meal, but in the afternoon they want to eat meat meal, so they that would be a problem. So meaning they have to cook enough bread to eat during the day. That's it. So meaning in this case only for breakfast. That's it. Or for example, another example would be these 9 days. These 9 days besides Shabbos, 9 days of Av, from Rosh Chodesh Av until 9th of Av, right? So it's 8 days actually. So we don't eat meat, right? Ashkenazi tradition, we don't eat. I think Sephardim only on the week that 9th of Av falls on, I think. So, but Ashkenazim don't eat meat and don't drink wine all of the 9 days, except Shabbos, of course, right? And so in this case, yeah, since you're not going to eat meat the whole day, you only eat dairy or parev, so there is no problem. You can have enough this dairy bread for the whole day, or even for tomorrow. If tomorrow is still the same day, 3rd of Av, for example, still you're not going to eat meat, there is no problem. But otherwise, right, don't do it. So, right, only if you allow to eat, only if you bake for one day, right, and you're going to eat it, and you and your family and your friends, so whoever is invited, neighbors or guests. So meaning they are baked with the idea in mind, they're going to eat themselves and distribute among the friends and neighbors, okay, and guests. Okay, so that's fine. That is acceptable. Then you can do it. Next exception. One may bake even large amount of dairy bread to be eaten over a period of days if he shares this bread in unusual manner, shapes this bread in unusual manner to serve as a reminder that bread is dairy. So let's see one more time. One may bake even large amount of dairy bread. So I'm not sure if bread is a good idea, because yeah, it was this specific shape, but then you start cutting and it's no longer the shape. If we're talking about rolls, it would be easy, right? So like I don't know, square rolls, right? Or rolls should be round, but sometimes I saw, where did I see it? Somewhere I saw like square bagels, right? People do it for fun, right? So meaning like a very different shape. Very different shapes, so everybody understand it's not regular bread, it's dairy bread. So in this case, yes, a person can bake it, right, and eat over the period of many days if it's like very unusual looking, or maybe color. I'm just saying, all right. You can add food coloring, right? You can buy, I don't know, make it green or some, or blue, or some blue bread. Okay, right, the blue, any color, right, any colors or yellow, right, so for sure everybody would understand that is this bread is somewhat very different. So usually you don't add food coloring, but right, but in this case, right, you see that's something different. So this food coloring, they should have a kosher sign, very, very important. I mean, many of them have, because they derive from plants, but still, right? Don't just buy. Look for a kosher sign. Continue. One may bake certain dairy products. So right, the next exception. So first, if it's only enough to eat for one day, right? Second, if it would be unusual shape, and I ate it from myself, maybe unusual color. Okay. Next one. One may bake certain dairy items that are not eaten during the meal. For example, one may bake dairy muffins, since they serve as a dessert, not during the course of the meal itself. Similarly, one may bake pastries and fruit danishes with milk, since they're eaten only after the meal. Okay, so let's go over it again. So the problem with bread, again, what is the problem with bread? Initially they might start to eat it with dairy, and then finish eating with meat. That's what our concern. But if it's not bread, right? Yes, it is from bread family, but it's not bread. Something as people eat as a dessert, so meaning that they would be cautious and not eat it as a part of the meal. And the example that he gives, dairy muffins. So if you go to the store, I think all of these muffins are dairy. Why? Because they're tastier, of course. But when we do muffins in home, all of them parve, right? So meaning you can eat this muffin as a dessert with anything you want. But of course, dairy muffins tastier, of course. Okay. Right, since they are sort of dessert, so a person is going to be cautious. Right. Similarly, one may bake pastries, right, and fruit danishes, fruit danishes, or even right, fruit danishes, or they have a cheese danish. So for sure, you understand, it's a cheese danish. So meaning, again, I think it should be like a custom of the family if they add milk to this danishes like on a constant basis or sometimes. Otherwise, it's misleading. How do you know that it is daily today, for example, right? So, for example, wife baked it late at night. He was sleeping. He woke up in the morning. He wants to eat breakfast. She's sleeping, for example. I'm just making up a story, right? And he does not know, is it daily or not daily, right? Maybe she decided to experiment, which is a problem. Okay. Right, so again, but technically, if it's not bread, if it's danishes, muffins, other pastries, it is allowed to bake them with milk. Okay, so why? Because usually we don't eat it as a part of the meal, but only as a dessert after the meal. Number 8. Commenting. Even though one may not serve dairy pastries as a dessert after the meat meal, the prohibition of dairy bread applies only to bread that may be inadvertently eaten with the meat itself. So our great sages, they said, let's not overdo it, right? So they say, since I think it is from Talmud, right, about this dairy bread, right? So meaning Talmud says dairy bread. So don't go for forbid everything. So right. So since it's possible to eat bread with all kind of meals, with bread, with a meat meal, with a dairy meal, so that's they were cautious. But here with dessert, even possible right after the meal, people have dessert. Some people have desserts or snack, they call it, right, between the meals. So also you have to be careful if it's you want to eat this muffin, but if this muffin is dairy, so you have to be careful. Have to be careful, right? Right, so sages did not forbid to add dairy to these extra things, desserts. Okay, that's good to know. So next exception, and it says, one may certainly bake cheesecake and cheese danishes since, in addition to the factor mentioned above, they are visibly dairy, right, and will not be mistakenly eaten with meat. Similarly, one may bake meat pies, or even bread that obviously contains meat or gravy. Okay. However, one should not bake pastries containing meat gravy. I don't know what kind of pastry is it. That is not clearly visible. Since they may inadvertently be eaten as a dessert with coffee and milk. Okay, so let's try to understand. So if it's visibly like you understand that it is, and for example, again, as I said, if it's a family tradition, right? So, and you usually don't have guests, so meaning or guests would not take without your permission food. That's also a bit, right. It would be safe to do whatever you want. So again, one may certainly bake a cheesecake or cheese danishes, since in addition to the factor mentioned above, right, meaning that it is dessert. That's dessert, right? That's a factor mentioned above, right? The visibly dairy. So how you see the cheese danishes, you see cheese, and the cheesecake it's all made from cheese, right? So you would not make a mistake. Okay. So meaning nobody is going to make mistake and eat it with meat. Similarly, one may bake meat pies. Meat pies with any bread or any bread that obviously contains meat. I'm not sure how you would see in a meat pie, in a pie what is inside. I mean, I guess if when you start to cut it, yes, you would understand what is inside. But otherwise, if it's pie, it's closed from all sides. Right? It could be meat pie, it could be cherry pie. How do you know? Or apple pie. How do you know what is inside? Unless it's cracked somewhere and you see what is inside. So it's not simple. Okay. But it's visibly, I don't know, maybe color different. I'm not sure it's different. Okay. So right, but if it's obvious that there is a meat pie, maybe different meat, maybe different shape, right? Or bread obviously contain meat or gravy. So that's also allowed because nobody is going to make mistake. Again, if it's for a family, it's a family tradition. So again, no problem. However, one should not bake pastries containing meat or gravy. So that's already too much. Right, that is not clearly visible. So if you have some openings on top and everybody see what's inside, there is no problem. Since they are inadvertently be eaten as a dessert with coffee and milk. Okay. So next exception. On Erev Shabbos, one may bake daily challahs to be eaten at the daily meal on the first day of Shavuos, since in a short time span, one will not forget that the loaf is daily. Similarly, one may bake challah with meat gravy if that challah will normally completely eaten during the meat meals on Shabbos. If one eats daily seudah shlishis, the meat challah must be small enough to be consumed during the first two Shabbos meals. Okay. I apologize, I misread one word. Erev Shavuos. I said Erev Shabbos. No. Erev Shavuos. So on Shavuos, there is a custom on the first, not at night, but in the morning. The first meal, as we learn in the books, to eat what we learn it in the laws of Yom Tov, right? To eat a daily meal. Okay, so daily meal. So usually, other people would do it like what we do is just bake a pot of bread and you eat whatever you want, right? You eat with you can eat a pot of bread, pot of rolls, right? With the meat meal and daily meal, no problem. But here they want specifically daily challah. Okay, no problem. Right. So he said on Erev Shavuos there is no problem to bake a daily challah to be eaten with daily meal, right, on the first day of Shavuos. Since it is a short time span, nobody is going to forget. And plus, plus, as we said before, do it a different shape. Okay. Similar, one may bake challah with meat gravy if challah is normally completely eaten during the meat meal on Shabbos. So on Shabbos you have 3 meals. Have enough people to finish this bread, there is no problem. Right? Maybe there is going to be a leftover, but it's a different story. Okay. Right, or if you would be able to completely finish it, would be the best. So even though it's meat, it's meat. Usually people don't eat daily during Shabbos unless I don't know something is somebody cannot eat meat for some reason. I mean, on the third. During the seudah shlishis, I think it says, I would say it's praiseworthy to eat meat and fish, but most of the time people are not so hungry. So most of the people I think would do parv, not even daily. Okay, but if somebody wants to do daily seudah shlishis, there is no problem if that's what people like, right? So make sure to do this bake this meat challah. Only enough for 2 meals. So after they would consume completely during the 2 meals. Okay, there is no problem. Again, me personally, I never ever tried meat bread. There is so many dishes like clearly meat dishes, and why would you put yourself in this danger that you or somebody is going to stumble? That's almost my question. Why you make your life so difficult? Okay. So continue. But technically, as he said, if they're going to consume on Shabbos or it's going to be on Shavuos and everybody knows that first meal we have dairy, no problem. Again, it's only on the first day. I had this question before, only on the first day. Continue. If one follows these instructions, so next one. If one follows this instruction, but nevertheless has remaining dairy or meat bread, there is less dairy bread than anticipated, was eaten during the dairy meal. The bread may be put away. There is in the freezer to be eaten at a later date if the wrapper is clearly marked as dairy. Okay. All right, so now after they did whatever they had to do, and sometimes the woman of the house like overcook. She thought that everybody is so hungry they're going to eat. But let's say in the summer, hot, everybody's hot, people eat much less, right? Much less than in the winter. Okay, no problem. So you have extra dairy bread, for example. So they say right, it is still allowed to keep it. And you can save it. So I would say you can put it in some kind of containers. Usually in the house you have containers like storage containers for dairy, right? Still, like for example, you eating cheese, right, or mozzarella cheese, right? Most likely you're not going to finish the whole piece in one time. Usually, if you eat even the whole family, and it take you 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever days, right? So you should have some kind of container. I mean, I understand some people put in a plastic, but I think a glass container would be better than all of the plastic and of this, what is it, aluminum foil. So in this case, you have different containers for meat and dairy. That's it. So you can just put in a container. Put it in the refrigerator, or even on the table, but in a dairy container. So for sure you know that it is dairy. But he said that you can put it in a freezer and mark that is dairy. Okay. So if it's not on Shabbos, technically you can write, right? You can write on top of this thing. Even if you wrapped in aluminum foil, you can write on top. Continue. One should not bake any bread while meat is being roasted in the oven. Right. One who bakes bread in this manner should consult Rav as to whether the bread may be eaten. So this topic we actually discussed a long time ago. I'm going to remind you, it was a topic how to kosher oven, right? And if you allow to share the oven between meat and dairy, right? And in some cases, as we explained, you don't need to kosher if everything like sealed completely. But if you want to bake something or roast something like open without cover, for sure you have to kosher between meat and dairy. Right. So now, if a person is baking meat, for example. And some people, what they do, they're trying to save time. How you save time? You do everything together. So it's not only save time if a person is pressed for time, right? And they do everything together and save money also, right? On gas or electricity. I mean, if everything is completely wrapped like a double wrapper, maybe, right? And you put everything in the same time in the oven, maybe there is no problem. But if something is open, so for sure the aroma from one food is going to go in another food. It's guaranteed. So if somebody had roasted meat in the oven, right, all of the aroma fill the whole oven. Yes, there is ventilation, but until it goes to ventilation, it goes everywhere in the oven, right? And a person baked bread. And it's not even just to remind us, when we discuss it, they say don't put it one underneath another. That's understandable. But even if they're the same level, on the same level, and this is moved to the right, this one is moved to the left. So meaning that there is no concern that the meat is going to splatter and on the bread, right? But still, aroma is going to be absorbed in the bread. Right, so one should consult Rabbi, what to do, right, with the bread if the bread is could be eaten. So technically, what is the issue? As we just said on the previous page, we said there is this bread is going to be considered in a sense meat bread, right? So for sure you should not eat it with dairy, for sure. Before dairy, problematic. After dairy, for sure you can eat it. There is no problem, right? Then plus, like they have to make sure they consume it, as we said in Monday, because of course it was a mistake, but right, so would depend on different situations. So Rabbi asked how you want to use this bread, basically. Okay. So continue. Next one. One who warms Shabbos challah by putting them in the oven or in a black shortly before Shabbos should avoid putting them in a spot when they might come in contact with gravy meat gravy. Sorry, they should not be put directly on a meat blech. If the halachos do come into contact with meat gravy, a Rav must be consulted. Okay, so let's do from the beginning. If a person wants to warm Shabbos challah, right, by putting them in the oven. In the oven, as we said before, it's problematic to keep this oven running. But if it's, I think we're talking about oven when it's like it's turned off and it's just keeping heat inside. Okay. In this case, for example, when you disconnected the light, right, no problem, you can use the oven. And that's what we do. When we do that in the winter, I think, right, in the winter. So we just keep it in the oven, like it's hot. Just don't open if you like it's in the ovens. They usually have a very good insulation. It can keep hot or warm, pretty warm for a few hours, no problem. So in this case, you don't even need the blech, basically. That's the idea, right? So if you want to put the bread, so of course don't put it on the rocks, right? Don't put it in a place where it can get in contact with the meat gravy. So I mean, we always do this. Like there is aluminum containers, like disposable containers, and you put there. Right, you put there to warm up, so it's like separate dish, and that's it. It's like the best way. So right, black, of course, it should be clean, but it's not so clean. Like you wash it with a sponge every time, right? It could be dusty, this and that. Like so, like in my mind, to put bread that you're going to put in the mouth on this black, so again, it's not like it's visibly dirty, but still, like nobody washed it like after every use. So just put it in container, and then you're going to be safe. And for sure, this container is not going to get in touch. Like so, in order to meat gravy like splatter into this bread, it's like it's a little too much. It should be a little volcano or something, eruption, like, to go over the board. Okay. So then we're going to be good. But if this bread got into contact with meat dairy, so we have meat gravy, so we have to talk to a rabbi. Not consult enough. Okay, so let me quickly check what time is it. Okay, so we have time. So let's go a little longer. So next one is decanter. See picture. Okay, decanter and picture are very similar. It's not exactly the same, but similar. Next one is deliveries. Meat or fish delivered, even from a kosher market, should be delivered by an observant Jew. Otherwise, the package must be properly sealed and clearly marked kosher. Right, they would seal the bag. So, for example, you order the fish or something, you would wrap in a paper, put in a bag, right, and seal the bag. Can this non-Jew who works for a kitchen steal the stamps to seal it? Of course he can, but okay. So, but if you think too much about it, you're never going to stop worrying. So okay, but technically, so that's what we do. Okay. So it should be, in some cases, even double sealed. So meat or fish. Okay. Continue. Dentures. One who uses dentures may treat them as a regular teeth. They may be used for both meat and dairy meals. Children or adults with the braces, that's an issue, on their teeth must be particularly careful to clean their teeth and braces properly between the dairy and meat. See chapter 15, section C, dentures, regarding cleaning denture for Pesach. Okay. So you can just pour hot water on them and it should be enough. Okay. So again, from the beginning, so you wash it, I think they wash it in some kind of solution, and that's it. And pour hot water, should be enough. Again, the denture. So denture is treated as a regular teeth on one hand, but on another hand, if they are removable, easily removable, you have to they have to rinse the mouth, because maybe the taste from the milk went under. Okay, no problem. But otherwise there is no problem. Otherwise you can eat, for example, meat right after the dairy. Okay. Okay. They may be used for both meat and dairy meals. Okay, no problem. Same dentures. I heard somebody said no, but we have double. I mean, my understanding. So they cost a lot of money from what I heard, right? Insurance pays, but sometimes people want a little better, so they have to pay out of pocket, right? But if you want the second pair, so now insurance does not not going to pay for a second pair unless the first pair is broken. You understand? So of course we cannot do insurance fraud. Of course not. To say that it's broken, this is that. I don't think so. No, not allowed. So many times it is like a matter of money. Why should a person spend extra money? It's we're talking, in my understanding, we're talking about thousands of dollars, right? It's not a few hundred, thousands of dollars on these things. Like if it's not necessary, just because they want to be strict. I mean, if they're rich people, they can do whatever they want. But technically, as we said, it's not necessary, right? The problem is real problem with this. With this, what is the braces, right? And they have this wax. They go all of these things that wax that is going to absorb, remove it, like put it back. All of these things. So it's not so simple with this braces. So if you decided to put braces, so we have to understand that it comes with a price. Have to take care, be careful, because food sticks to between the braces and the teeth, right? Have to be careful. Wash it. Okay, continue. Dishcloth. Halachically, one may launder the dishcloth in hot water and detergent to change it from one use to another. It is preferable to use separate dishcloth for washing meat and dairy dishes. The cloth comes into contact with the actual meat or dairy and is used with the hot water. Thus, it's absorbed both particle and taste, right? So, okay. So, I mean, today, we're talking about like halacha in general. Is it recommended to do? I would say no, not recommended to do. Recommended to do. We have different sponges for dairy and for meat, different sponges, or the dishcloth, whatever people used to. Right. So again, halachically, so can you wash the dishcloth and change from dairy to meat? Yes. And actually we had this question. I don't remember what country that person was from, but they use the dishcloth. I asked them like carefully, why you don't use a sponge? They said we don't have such a custom. I don't know. I didn't have any more question, but they use the dishcloth. So they asked me, what is the problem with this? I said, there is no problem. I'm just asking the question. Like before the sponges were like invented, it was like they become so cheap. I mean, they're not so, I mean, they're cheap, affordable. So all of the people for all the generations, they use a dishcloth. Right? I mean, I'm just curious. I thought everybody using sponges. Looks like not. Right, so again, so if we want to switch them from meat to dairy, or basically if they are like a same the dishcloth, let's say the same person bought what is it? They bought what? Set, right? Set. This is on this sink. This is another sink, right? But then they wash it together, there is no problem, right? There is no problem. So now they both become parif in a sense, and you can switch. Okay. Right, but he said it is preferable to use separate dishcloths for washing meat and dairy, right? So I mean, in general, so I mean, it would not enter my mind to use one. Why? Like because when you wash the dishes, for sure this dishcloth touches the food, right? And when it's hot, and we know how the taste enter into another one, right? In another thing, it's through the heat, and for sure dishcloth is very absorbent. So okay, so that's the problem. Of course, person when washed use a lot of or some, maybe not a lot, but some soap. It's not exactly meat, but it's something bad, something different. But we try not to do it. Okay. Next one, dish drainer. It is customary to use separate dish drainer for meat and dairy dishes. Dish drainers. I'm not sure what dish drainer is. It is customary to use separate dish drainers. I'm not sure what is it. Drainers. Meat and dairy. I'm not sure what is it. Dish drainer. I mean, like drainer in a sink, but it's not in the dish drainer. It does not call it's not called dish drainer. Okay. Okay, continue. So, but if it's a sink drainer, I'm not sure. Then people use one sink to wash meat and dairy. It would be understandable, right? Continue. Dish towel. Dish towel. A dish towel may be used for meat and dairy dishes if it is laundered between the uses. Okay. Some have a commendable custom to keep separate meat and dairy dish towels. Okay, so again, dish towel. Dish towel may be used for meat and dairy dishes. So many dish towel, usually people don't wipe the dish. Some people have a custom, right? They put first on a dish rack, right, until let it drain, and then they wipe it. Okay, to store it away. There is no problem. Right, but some people just use the dish towel like from time to time, like only in some occasions when they need some food, some dishes or spoon or a fork or something right away. But otherwise, they would let it dry on its own. Okay, so in this case, there is no problem. We can use one dish towel, especially like if you have a smaller kitchen and everything is tight. So if you're going to have two towels, again, if you don't dry the dishes right after then, you let it dry, there is no problem. Okay, so commentary. A dish towel is not used directly with the hot water, right, and does not generally come in contact with meat and dairy, right, meaning what, that when we wipe something that it is clean, right, that it is different from dishcloth. Okay. No problem. Oh, this question I was asking, I apologize, I did not get back to these people. Okay, so now we're going to learn all together, BeEzrat HaShem. And it says, dishwasher. One contemplating purchases one dishwasher for both meat and dairy use should consult his Rav as to whether this is possible before making any final plans. One who wishes to wash part of dishes in either meat or dairy dishwasher must determine if this water is if his washer is as most washers. One second. Must determine if his washer, as most washers, has a filter, right, in the washing chamber. Here we go. If no filter is present, it may be permitted to wash part of dishes. Nevertheless, scrupulous individuals will avoid using meat or dairy dishes for part of dishes. The meat or dairy dishwashers for a part of dishes, because they're not going to be part of, after all, as we understand. Poskim assume that a treif dishwasher usually cannot be kosher, right? As one who faces financial loss should consult his Rav. So that's the question that I was asked about So if people move to an apartment, right, rental apartment, how long they're going to stay there? Nobody knows, right? So of course they're not going to buy their own dishwasher. So the question are they allowed to use the existing dishwasher? So usually, as we said before, right, majority of the paskim say that the plastic cannot be koshered, right? Plastic cannot be kosher. Not everybody agree with that, but the majority said plastic cannot be kosher. And plus, this plastic parts inside, right? They come into contact for sure with the food, for sure, because the dishes were let's say tray for meat and dairy, whatever was it, right? And for sure it was hot water, and for sure it was meat particles. So it's not maybe, it's for sure. Okay, so I continue. Incidentally, there is no way in which dishwasher may be used on Shabbos. Right. Even if one were to install timer, closing dishwasher door completes the electrical circuit, right, and causes dishwasher to start at the same time. Very interesting. One should consult Rav whether and how one may put the dishes into dishwasher on Shabbos to be washed after Shabbos. See chapter 9, section A. Okay. After cutlery, right? See chapter 9. After cutlery, found dishwasher of the opposite type. Okay, so let's see from the beginning, and we try to understand. So now we're going to dishwasher. So if person buy their own apartment, or they plan to stay in that apartment for a long time, so we always right, and they need dishwasher for sure. So we always recommend them to replace dishwasher. So, and even if it's a rental apartment, but you're planning that it's a good rent, and you sign a long lease, and like everything is good for you, like maybe for 3, 4, 5 years, so maybe it's worth it to invest in a new dishwasher. They're not so expensive. Of course there is like expensive models, and why people would buy something like that. Like somebody asked me about the phone. A person like not elder, like older person. So he asked me about what phone to buy, and he wanted to buy like all of this like good phone. So I said, why do you need like I just look through the feature. I said me personally, I'm more advanced in technology than he is, right? For example, I would not use 90% of this feature. Why do you need to pay so much money? Just buy a basic model, like that is going to work. Why do you need all of these crazy things? But people pay almost double price. I was trying to help him to pick the phone, right? Almost double price for something they do not need. They're never going to use. So I told him, if you need the extra like memory, something, yeah, you buy like to store the pictures of grandkids and stuff like that. But otherwise, like, who needs that? Who needs this super duper camera? What is you're going to? What pictures you're going to take? You understand? So it's same as this the dishwashers. So right, also somebody asked me about dishwasher. Right, to help this person to pick dishwasher, I look at whatever they send me. Some of them like 3 times more than regular, like a smart home or whatever is it. Like, who needs that? You need to just wash dishes, and the one 3 times cheaper also is going to wash dishes. Also brand name. It's not like some right. So again, if a person even rent an apartment, they are planning to stay there for a long time, maybe it's good idea to invest. But if not, only for a year or two, and there is no problem to like people going to wash dishes by hand, no problem. So we now don't have a dishwasher. Simply, like, it's not because we could not afford, but because there is no room. Simply, right? So we prefer to have a more like storage space, and it's like filled as it is, right? Than to have dishwasher. So we wash by hands. There is no problem. I mean, what people get used to, it's nothing. Okay. So again, one contemplated to purchase one dishwasher for both meat and dairy. I'm not sure why somebody do that. So I will always recommend just decide what you eat more, right? Dairy, for example, or meat, right? And if most of you meat and dairy, for example, the people who do not eat meat for whatever reason, only little meat. So make it a dairy dishwasher, and for meat, use disposable plates, and that's it. Or wash it in a sink. Very simple. right? And so in this case, you can have, if you always rely on the dishwasher, you can have only one sink, technically. I mean, it's not recommended, but technically you can do. Okay. Technically you can do. Okay. So right. So one who wants to use the one for meat and dairy should consult Rav. I'm not sure what Rav is going to say to them. I'm not sure as to whether it's possible before making any final plans. Okay. So most likely it's not. Maybe today, when this person asked me to help them with the dishwasher, so I did not look in the features. Like they say, like what one should they buy? But maybe today they have something like a Ken Kosher. This is a book from many years ago. Maybe things change in technology. I'm not sure. Maybe. Continue. One should who wishes to wash part of dishes in either meat or dairy dishwasher must determine if his washer, as most washers, have filter in the washing chamber. So meaning if you filter, must clean the filter, right? If no filter present, it may be permitted to wash a part of dishes. Sometimes filter is down, go like in the system itself. So meaning nothing is going to come up. Right? That's how I understand. Nevertheless, scrupulous individuals should avoid using meat or dairy dishwasher for part of dishes. But technically, I think my understanding is that majority of the people they would use part of dishes in meat or dairy dishwasher. So usually there are people usually, of course, as I said, there is exception, but usually people use dishwasher for meat and part of dishes, right? And then let it stand sometimes, so it's not in the same day and stuff like that. And there is like one what they call it, like empty run, right? They do one clean run, and then they wash the part. So one clean run for like empty run without dishes, it's not going to work so well between meat and dairy, but from meat in the part, I think it should be fine. Okay, right. But as he said, scrupulous individuals would not do it. Okay. Paskim assume that a treif dishwasher usually cannot be kashered, right? But again, one who faces financial loss should consult Rav. We need to look into it. So technically, I saw the opinions that like in a case of great financial loss and great need, so you actually can kosher dishwasher. Okay, but I need to verify it again. Incidentally, there is no way in which dishwasher may be used on Shabbos. Okay, but on Shabbos, how some people use the dishwasher, they use it as a storage, right, for dirty dishes, not to have it like on your counter. You need the counter space, so it's beautiful. So you just put it inside, and that's it, right, as a storage. So of course you make sure that there's no light going on and nothing, right, completely disconnect. There is usually what is it, child lock or whatever it's called feature that you cannot like turn on until you press some code or something, right? So in this case, you can open dishwasher and put the dirty dishes until after Shabbos. There is no problem. So it's very important. So it's not like you preparing for after Shabbos. No, you just put in them away because you need counter space, right? That's it. Okay. Even if one were to install timer, closing dishwasher, door completes the electrical circuit and causes the dishwasher to start at the same time, at the set time. So which is a problem. So when door is open, the circuit is broken, right? But the door is closed, the circuit is closed. So it's like Halachah of building, as we said. Are we up to Halachah of building? I think we're not up to Halachah of building, but we're going to get to it. Or we're in the middle? I think maybe, I don't remember. Okay, well, continue. No, we did not get to it. I apologize, we did not get to it. Okay. It's in our Wednesday class. One should consult Rav whether and how one may put dishes into the dishwasher on Shabbos to be washed after Shabbos. So again, as I just said, so you just want to keep it nice and neat, your kitchen, and presentable, and enjoy Shabbos, and that's it. So it's not to save time after Shabbos. It's not. Right? So in this case, it would be allowed. Okay, I think we can stop here. Covered, Baruch Hashem, a lot of material. So we continue next time. So let's take 5 minutes break. And I forgot to bring one book that actually learned something very, very interesting today. That some of us got it wrong. So right, because it was said by somebody many times, and right, and people took it for granted without checking the sources. But the source says something a little different. So let me get my book.